Welcome back to another episode of the Tough Love Podcast. Today, we're going to get right down to the three biggest, most impactful behaviors that men do that undermine, sabotage, and sometimes eventually just destroy a marriage. And we've talked about them in different ways before, but this episode, we're just going to get right down to the the essence of these behaviors so that you can really start to track them and start to do something different because they are not effective. I mean, we've been at this work for decades, watching men, watching ourselves try to achieve efficacy in our marriages through these behaviors, but never, ever really works. I'm just going to list them now and then we're going to go through them one by one. The first behavior is defensiveness. The second one is fix it mentality. And the third is avoidance or distraction.
Yeah, one word that can encompass all of these, that is still the espoused value of masculinity is stoicism. Stoicism, this appearance of being unbothered, unruffled, um, cool, chilled out, unflappable on the exterior. While on the interior, there can be massive amounts of everything you just listed. Defensiveness, reactivity, shut down, non-presence, non-availability. But there's an appearance of I'm a rock. I am the rock of Gibraltar in this storm, unbothered by the bastion of waves just slamming against me. I'm the breakwater to my wife's emotional kind of moods, particularly around her menstruation. I am solid as a rock. Hard truth. Bullshit. This is an outright deception because the nervous system is the nervous system is the nervous system. Our bonding reflexes get shaped in utero, and particularly those first days and months with our caregivers, then the first few years, and then, of course, that first cycle of 7 years and that next cycle of 7 years massively shape our ability to connect, to feel safe. We are a highly plasticized being, which means our brain is just utterly moldable, particularly in the early stages of life. It's always moldable, it's always changeable. We can change, we can grow, we can train. But the beginning of our lives, our nervous system, our brain, the neurons in our brain, the nerves that come off of our spine are literally being shaped. Their pathways are carving themselves into our viscera and musculoskeletal system to set up how we're connecting with our caregivers. And that necessarily shapes our eventual partnership. As present as mom was or dad was, utterly affects how available we are and how receptive we are. And stoicism is a state of numbness. It's an undeveloped state of non-availability. It is an enclosure that's marked by the sentinel of fear. It's not a state of strength. It's not a state of resilience. It's not a state of availability. It is a stance of, I will not let you hurt me. And there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing bad about it. There's nothing um, that's, kind of, well, there's a lot that's ineffective about it. It's not useful and it doesn't help with connection. And it's just important to name it. Ryan, you and I work with men all the time, and because we're in the work all the time, I still get surprised when I meet a really stoic guy because I'm like, bro, this is about emotional intimacy, right? Like feeling. And then I remember like, wow, this is a really hard thing. This is a really, really difficult thing to learn if what you have learned in those first stages of life where I have to close. all of my capacity to feel down to endure this lack of contact, this lack of safe contact. So here we go.
Thanks for that, Luke. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is the meta kind of conditioning that drives these behaviors. Yeah, for sure. And so though the behaviors themselves, so let's start with defense, are reflexive and not thought through, right? There is the pointing out the feedback of some sort or another that you are not attuning to me. I don't experience you as caring about my world, about my safety, about my emotional reality. I don't experience you that way right now by the way you're approaching me, behaving, what you did, what you said. You're getting that feedback. And instead of hearing it as feedback, the reflex in most men, including myself at times, right? I mean, it's such a natural reflex, is to explain and defend why your behavior was not intentionally uncaring or misattuned. That is defensiveness. That is what, the millions and millions of women are like complaining and trying to point out and saying, you're being so defensive. Like that is that, right? It is one of the most essential things to repattern. And it's not going to happen without very concerted effort, training, modeling, being around other men that are actually showing you like how to do that. Because it's just not something I certainly never saw that. I never saw a man say like, you know what, right? You're right, honey. Like I didn't think about you, when I went ahead and scheduled that night. I was thinking about my own, ease and I forgot about you. I don't want to do that. Like who yeah, I never saw that.
Mm-mm.
And you don't see it in, right? So it's the one I start with because when I see a man start to change that, in I say a couple session, start to take that moment where he, allows that first kind of wave of defensiveness to move through and then says something like that, and to watch her, like, her whole reality start to reorganize. And is this real? Does he mean that? And if he stays with it, it's just such a beautiful moment. It's like, yeah, that we're like 75% of the way there of creating a fantastic marriage when that happens.
That's awesome, Ryan. I I feel the transmission of that statement. And I really like the way you said that when the man lets the wave of defensiveness pass by him, the opening that comes on the other side, the rewiring of his wife's brain and nervous system when she's not met with that reflex of, you know, just resistance and non-feeling and non-connection, and how the whole family system gets rearranged in that one move. Of course, how that's a challenging move, but it's doable. It's not out of the realm of capacity. And the thing I want to highlight about this, which is the underlying idea of this podcast, is when we have the capacity as a man to go, oh wow, here's the responsive defensiveness. This is coming from a young part of me that doesn't want to feel shame or be called out, whatever, however you want to characterize that. So I have enough awareness to hold this younger me, to kind of lovingly parent him, to do the work of being mature and not stoic, meaning I'm not shutting down and having the appearance of the wave passing by. Meanwhile, I'm seething deep, deep in my nervous system. That's not what's happening. I'm conscious of my defense. I'm allowing it to pass because I'm making space for the we experience, for her experience and mine to actually progress in presence. This is another way we could describe this is relational enlightenment or relational freedom. This is the path of growing and maturing in relationship in the body. It is a kind of spiritual work. It's also an emotional, physical work. And this is a certain path that you and I, Ryan, teach around how to be in relationship, how to make relationship be a path of healing and growth and connection and love and truly making the world a more beautiful place. So that move you described is the move. That is one of the hallmark moves of commitment to connection with partner.
I find myself wanting to add, one other, hopefully, helpful move that a man can make, and it's the emotional naming in these moments too, because we're not asking you to be calm and like super just immediately empathetic around the impact you're having on your wife, your partner, right? There may be a moment that you need to name, right? God, when you point that out to me, I feel really embarrassed that I forgot that. I feel really frustrated with myself. Because that could be the emotional, or I'm actually going into a little bit of shame that, that I did that, or, that I forgot to do that, that I said that. It's not who I want to be. It's hard for me to hear it reflected back to me. That would be an honest, right, emotionally centered way of responding to the feedback that is not defensive. It's naming you're actually struggling to hear this feedback because it's eliciting this, this embarrassment, this shame, this frustration with yourself. All right. Well, let's move on to the number 2 behavior that ruins marriages that men do. It's the fix it mentality. Super super common and easy to to go into, right? Your wife comes to you with, I mean, it's kind of at this point it's also kind of cliche, right? Like, most men, this is not the first time you've heard the importance of not fixing, just listening, but we're going to break it down a little bit more deeper so it's of actual value to you. So the reflex here of trying to actually, go into your rational, you're going into a non emotionally focused, non empathetic aspect of your brain, right? Which is very very helpful, very crucial to your management of your life. And you may live in that way, and it works as you go through your days. And yet, in the relational context, it does not work to respond to an emotionally laden experience that your wife is sharing with, have you thought about maybe getting more massages? Yeah. Even if you're, well intentioned, right? Have you considered actually, you know, talking to your boss about that? And I have some ideas. There's maybe we should ask ChatGPT about, how you could structure that interaction with your boss. That'd be helpful. I mean, these are like sometimes very sincere, and then they're met with like, I don't what ah, and you're like, what? I was just trying to be helpful. But I think from my own experience in working with so many men, I think it's really a discomfort of actually being in the emotional reality, in the unknown, in the you're not in control at all of this situation. She's coming to you with a somewhat maybe dysregulated, or at least very emotionally charged experience, and it's uncomfortable to just be with that on a nervous system level, to stay open and be like, wow, that sounds so hard. And to feel like, and women can suss out so quickly whether you're actually feeling to some degree, what they're feeling, at least, open to it versus just being in your head about their experience. And they're really, I
There's
watch them, they're really like really looking, they're like, are you, no, you're not. You're not feeling it. They're just waiting to like actually see you feeling it and like have it matter to you on the emotional level, not on just the sort of cognitive logistical level.
Well, if we just have sex quickly, then we'll get there faster. No, that's a joke. That is something that occurs in the male psyche. The There's something that our partners need from us in these moments, when they're fe of course, what they're wanting is they're wanting us to feel them, feel their world, and then perhaps fix it. Maybe there's no fix needed. All they need is to feel us feeling them. There's something, it's not a dependence there, but there's some remediation that's occurring where the feminine nervous system is releasing, is expressing whatever's alive in their system. And to the masculine conditioning, it's like, oh my God, this is disorganized, it's non-logical, it's non-sequential, it doesn't make sense. I don't know what the fuck to do with this. Like, how do I get agency around this and point it out? Because it's overwhelming to our structure of how we sequence through life. That's the design of this. And of course, this is the description of most and much dysfunction between masculine and feminine. But there is something that our feminine partners need from us. And it's not our head. It's it's not our penis and balls. They don't need to be fucked into freedom. They don't need to be sexually freed, and no. They need the energy and the coherence of our bright heart, of our capacity to warm and assuage and soothe, yes, what is disorganized and what is non-coherent and what is all over the place. And this is the gift that we have as masculine nervous systems. We have the gift of bringing ease to a nervous system. This is just who we are. When a woman says, "Oh, he's so strong, he's so steady," she's not talking about your stoicism. She's talking about your big, warm, loving heart. That's what she's talking about. Now, no one's maybe naming that because it's not fucking soldier and alpha and Navy SEAL. I don't know why I'm on a military kick, but they're naming the warmth of your awareness that emanates through your heart, not your mind. That's how you organize life, through the mind, categorize. But how you imbue life with energy and illumination is through your heart. And that's what she's craving from you. Is that listening? It's in part listening, but it's deeper than that. It's more of a way of being where she feels your care. She feels your care and your presence. That's what she needs. And you need her kindness and her aliveness and her vivacity, or whatever flavor of her energy that is just so beautiful and intoxicating. You need that.
Hmm.
And that's where this really starts to work. There's a move to make there where we're like, "Oh, honey, I'm right here. I hear you." And you know what? More than that, I really feel you. I feel you're hurting here. I feel you're in distress. And when she feels you feeling her with your heart, it's done. Connection is established, You've done another move,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah, yeah, and it's not all fixed at the end of it.
No.
That's not the point, right? It's integrate. It's like
Yeah.
it's warmed. It's made not wrong,
Yeah.
right? I think that there's just such a deep place in the feminine. I think honestly, as I said, I can feel this in my own feminine aspect, right?
Yeah.
That feels like it's wrong, for not being coherent and rational and too emotional, too passionate, too caring, too moved by things. There's a if it's maybe a cultural pathologizing of that energy, right? So to
Yeah.
meet it with like, yeah, I'm not, I don't find that wrong or nonsensical or a threat to me in some way.
Yeah.
I feel it. I feel it as like you're in it. You're doing your best to navigate this extraordinarily complex life, while
Mhm.
keeping your heart open. And I respect that.
Yeah.
I'm not here to fix it. I'm not here to like, because that implies that it's actually like it's a fundamental problem,
Yeah,
and
it's so
and
brilliant,
it's
Ryan.
not, right. So you're offering this like corrective experience
Hmm.
in that I can be, I can have big feelings and big, sometimes incoherent, contradictory thoughts, and they're not a problem. They're just like, yeah, you're having you're having big feelings,
Yeah.
loud thoughts about your life right now. I'm just with you. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
In our better moments, we do that. I'm just thinking, to be real, like last night, I'm reflecting. I don't think I quite got there because I was under the weather. I was just like, I just didn't have the
Yeah.
energy. But fortunately, there's enough grace in our relationship that wasn't a complete fiasco, but just to say like, it's such an ongoing challenge to stay in that level of radical acceptance, you know, heartful heartful interest, in the state of your partner. All
Hmm.
right. So moving on to the third and final behavior, and they're all linked, right? I think of how so it's avoidance, right? And I think of how what we just described is like for many men, understandably, something you might want to avoid. It's intense. It's like chaotic. It's not something you can go into and assuredly have a successful outcome. So as men, we really want to feel confident. So many men avoid this entangled, emotionally fraught, nonlinear, world of intimacy and do stuff that's helps them feel like competent, like they can affect change in the world, and that's understandable.
Yeah. It's it's that nervous system reflex, right? We're built first for survival, secondary for connection, and it um it takes an effort to pause, let the wave of avoidance, the wave of resistance, the wave of defensiveness to pass us by. That's the wave of the nervous system. The nervous system has the first choice in every response because our first and always point of connection is, are we safe? So we want to emphasize there's nothing pathological about that. Thank God we're built that way. If we didn't have that way, we this species wouldn't be here. Because we're built to defend first is why we're on this planet still. So it's good. That's good that we have that. We honor that structure in the nervous system, the energetic system's very sophisticated. And the work is, I think the phrase you used, Ryan, is quite brilliant. With discernment, allowing the wave of resistance, of avoidance to pass. And implicit in that is a question. Am I safe? Is this a safe interaction? Our nervous system doesn't ask that question. It just defends. So something more sophisticated has to bring that voice in. Is my wife going to kill me right now? Is she going to destroy me right now? Is my safety physically or emotionally really threatened in this moment? If the answer is yes, then we need to address that. And if the answer is no, then we can allow the wave of defense to pass us by. and enter in this incredible world of relational connection, relational joy, relational satisfaction, relational vitalizing, where you gain energy from each other in a symbiotic way. It's just quite beautiful.
Right. Yeah, yeah, it is. Once you get through that deep reflex to defend or avoid or fix, right? I mean, it's all of these are natural and strong
Yeah.
reflexes. And just to add a layer onto what you're describing, the the level of discomfort that is likely to arise in you that seems like it could be a signal to you that you're unsafe. Right? I mean, that's the nuance here that Luke's getting at, is that it feels like it's in your body. It feels like this is not a safe place to be. Like the level of emotion and um, pain that's arising in front of me right now, and this person that it's supposed to be in my care, and I'm supposed to be in her care, and it's just so much. I just feel so uncomfortable. I don't want to be around that, right? The discomfort, right? But what we're coaching here is that it's essential to start to develop some internal regulation process, right? Regulation of that discomfort, like opening to it, like normalizing it, like this is what they talked about in the podcast. This is what I've been practicing in my, in my therapy. This is here it is. I don't like it. I wish it weren't here, but I'm going to be with it because this is growth. This is my nervous system learning to stay present in the midst of pain, and there's no other way but through in this.
Mhm.
And they don't tell you that, when you get married, there's no one sitting you down saying this is going to be hard, and there's going to be moments where she's going to come to you with a lot of pain, a lot of grief about how you've been, and you're going to want to defend yourself. You're going to want to just immediately fix it, or you're going to want to just walk away and say, "Hey, that's a you problem. I don't need to deal with that." You're going to want to do that, and it's not going to work. And even if you divorce, find somebody else, you're going to be sitting in front. You're going to be confronted with the same challenge. How do you adapt your nervous system to the level of pain that is part of the human condition periodically and isn't wrong, and is actually an opportunity to widen and strengthen your heart, your compassion, and ultimately to turn you into a free man that's not avoiding, that's not organizing himself around, avoiding emotional pain and interpersonal stress.
We're here to serve. We're here to support you men out there who want to learn these skills. This is all trainable. We can train the nervous system, the brain to rewire and build this musculature. Beingmen.net, you'll learn about our programs, Tough Love, our Tough Love course. We have a few other courses we're getting up there. We'd love to hear from you. If there's something you'd want more of, let us know. Contact us. We have a contact form on the website. Ryan and I are available for coaching packages, and we're not in a rush to put a course out there yet. We're wanting to hear what men want. So let us know. We're here to serve you. We're here to serve you one-on-one. We've got some stuff up there. Check us out. And good luck out there.
All right. Take care, everyone.